Hey, Anthony, do you like my new shirt?
Sure, man. It's cool. Could have been better.
What was that?
I said it could have been better.
You want to fight about
Yeah,
it?
I do. Let's go, chump. Hold on a second. We don't need to fight.
We don't?
All you need to do is go to 86.com and choose from one of their many designs. Franchises range from Skullgirls to Street Fighter and even BlazBlue. And if you check out 86 through this Twitch channel, use 86.com/AFF=4 to let them know that Mission Star Podcast sent you. This thing on. Hello, hello. As I turn on the music. There we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony Bionis. It is another week of gaming news, and for this one, it's gonna be just me. So sad to say, but our schedules did not line up again this week. But in due time, that will change. Hopefully, in the next couple weeks here. But in the meantime, you have me, myself, and I to give you the gaming news and opinions that happen throughout the gaming industry. And for today, as I switch to the slide, talking about Google Stadia. So as I move my closer to my mouth so I can hear me better. This is reported off of WCCFtech.com, written by Nathan Birch. Stadia wireless play requires Chromecast Ultra at launch, USB cable needed otherwise. Google Stadia launches in about a month if you are ponying up for the Founders or limited edition, but it seems early adopters will have to deal with a few quirks and limitations. For starters, at launch, Stadia's much touted controller will only be wireless if you're using via a Chromecast Ultra. If you're playing on a computer or a mobile device, you need to connect the controller with a USB-C cable, a rather janky solution for what's supposed to be cutting-edge platform. For those who haven't been keeping up with all things Stadia, Google originally promised you could seamlessly transition between screens without having to pair up with each new device, as the Stadia controller is supposed to bypass local hardware, connecting directly to your game running in the cloud via Wi-Fi. Well, according to Google Community Manager on Reddit, that won't be the case at launch, and here is the quote. For wireless gameplay, this is limited to Chromecast Ultra. When plugged in via USB cable, the Stadia controller acts as a standard USB HID controller and may work on other platforms depending on the game and setup at launch. If you are looking to access Stadia on computers, tablets, and phones, you need to connect your controller via USB. Sorry for the confusion. So, one of the things I do want to bring up about Stadia, because some of you may know one of our actual co-hosts on the podcast, Ramen, has actually dived into the Founders Edition, and he has pre-ordered it. So he'll be getting a more first-hand look at it when that time comes. But one of the things I do want to point out with this launch is that when you launch a new console, a new anything in the game industry, you're given one chance. When it comes to the today's day and age in the game industry, when it comes to games and hardware, like, the thing about it is people are very critical and very quick to judge and very quick to get angry. And one of the things about that is, if you mess up on the first try, people are going to have doubts about your product from the get-go. Look what happened to the Xbox One. When that first was unveiled, when all the details of that came out, and how bad the PR for Microsoft handled that situation back then, it really hurt them. Like, the Sony PlayStation 4 took this generation, and it took a very long time for Microsoft to get to where they're at now. So when it comes to the Google Stadia, having touted and promised and saying that we're going to have this controller wirelessly work with every device that we've shown at trade shows and that we've experimented on, to then come around and says, well, at the moment, it only works on one thing versus the other. And if you want to use it for the other things, then, well, you need a USB-C for that. It's not a huge deal, but it does bring in doubt. Because this is launching, whether people can mark it as, maybe it should have been called early access, you're still charging people full price for this controller, whether it is a Founders Edition or not. So there isn't much confidence going in knowing that one of the things you are touting about is not going to be there on launch day. The other issue, obviously, which we will continue to talk about on this podcast, and it does apply to other streaming services out there when it comes to the game industry, is that when it comes to the United States, data caps are going to be a huge issue. That is the biggest hurdle for any of the streaming gaming sites to tackle. And I will give the benefit of the doubt of Google only because if they can find some way to where they can host, like, basically take on much more of the usage, than be penalized from these ISPs for the amount of data you're transmitting to your computer or to your TV, then awesome, cool. And Google is a big company; they got plenty of servers around the U.S. and around the world. As I burp to the mic because it happens all the time. But yeah, like they have the technology. I mean, Google is huge. Like, they can do it, obviously, but the thing is gonna come down to is is Google gonna stick to it, to a product that they may or may not be able to be successful on. There's been histories of them kind of dipping out after a short period of time. The thing is, though, is like we asked this question in the podcast is, as far as ISPs, as far as like data caps, like in the US is going to be hurt by this, and it's going to be very hard for it to be successful in the US regarding Stadia, but also other streaming platforms like xCloud and others that might be in the works. But when it comes to everything outside the US, if you are somebody from Canada, from Australia, from Japan, and you're in this program and you don't have data caps, awesome. This is like the best thing ever. And the whole point of Stadia is to leverage that you can't afford a console, so you can have this as a way to play games. You don't have a powerful PC, and this is a way for you to connect to new games coming out and don't have to worry about the horsepower. Just pick up the controller and play. Which runs into issues like, well, then if they say what they say, that your connection is great, like what's gonna happen when you're playing a game and again, not trying to run it against the data cap limit, and you have to play it in 480p just so you can play it without running into that limit. Or even like if connections that may or may not be stable, like you're going to be playing anywhere between a 1080p or 4K version of the game to a 240p 180 at some point. That it probably will not happen in a situation, but like there might be some times where people are, and even then it begs the question: do you really want to play a game that is less than its counterpart on the consoles and on PC? Do you really want to do that? It all depends on how eager you are to play the game, no matter what it looks like. It also depends on if this is the only for you to play, then you have to get through it. And it is a very interesting, and just kind of very curious to see how it turns out with this. And it is definitely something where I think Google is also going to be learning throughout the entire process. And I think it's a DOA on arrival, possibly. I mean, it's also, the other problem with Stadia is like, who is this for? Like, so far what they've shown so far is outside of maybe one or two exclusives that they have on their platform. Much of it is third parties, and much of it is, hey, we're gonna bring this game from this company over to our platform. As I yawn, man, I am totally not right now. But yeah, like it definitely like just it also asks the question like who is this for, and like who really is going to be using this as much as anybody else that is, I guess, not a gamer per se. I feel like this is for the person who's on the go, who can't afford a console but can afford this. It's a weird thing. I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I'm curious to see how the Google Stadia launches and works. But just from the outset, like already people are having doubts. The fact that you're not unable to launch with the said peripheral that works on every device and just one particular device does bring a lot of doubt, and I'm not too sure. Here's what I think. I think the Google Stadia will be fine. I think. At the same time, I just kind of don't believe it's not going to be successful, like coming in the U.S. If anything, glass half full. Google Stadia doesn't work in the U.S., but it is tremendously successful outside the U.S. That is what I'm thinking. That maybe the look at the bigger picture. I think that is that too hard to predict? Not really. Is it something that Google would like to hear? No, because they want to they want to be the company out there like saying like, oh, everybody in the world and everybody in the U.S. loves it. It's just a reality situation. If you're in the U.S. and you have these data caps and these ISPs that are going to be limiting you, like the amount of data you be bringing in, then you have to adjust just to play a game is going to vary, and it's going to be, it's not going to be a fun time. And versus if you have an Xbox, if you have a PS4, if you have a pretty okay PC, you can play these games for said value, either Game Pass or buying it via online or directly, and the much more higher quality resolution where it's supposed to look like, not a compressed version of it. So there's a lot of things going against it, and I think that Google Stadia's idea is sound, but I don't think it's going to be successful in the U.S. I think if they stick to it and focus maybe their efforts around the U.S., like outside the U.S., then absolutely, I think they have a better shot, because again, we don't have those data caps, we don't have those problems here versus around the world. So they have a better shot than that. I think in the U.S. it's DOA for the most part, until something happens. But hey, that's only to be seen and to be shown. But we'll see. So, alright guys, so that was my thoughts on Google Stadia. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed what you see, hit that subscribe button on this YouTube channel. As well as you can follow me personally on Twitter at DefectiveNaruto. Yes, that is an actual real Twitter name I use. And you can follow my shenanigans and everything else that I do at MissionStart.tv. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll be back Wednesday with another news story to talk about. And that one's gonna be, it's gonna be a doozy. I mean, like these three I have lined up, they're definitely good. They're definitely good stuff. I think you guys should check out. But with that being said, thank you for watching. See you guys next time.